Thank you. I'm gonna take a moment to take it all in, knowing that I got to share the stage with the Secretary of the Air Force, Chief of Staff, Chief Bass. So it's crazy right now. Pull it all in. First, I want to thank you, Chaplain Kitchens, for inviting me out to spend these moments with your team to service those who are constantly in the service of others. So that is not lost on me. Thank you, Chief Chambers, for pushing out the invite to get me here. Funny story. She sends it to me. I am now at Barksdale Air Force Base. So I'm a striker now as well. Yeah. And so before getting there, back in April, Chief sends me a note. She says, "Hey, will you come and do this with us?" I'm like, "Absolutely." I send it to my future commander, and I say, "Hey, sir, I got an invite to go out. I know I'm not there yet, but these folks have invited me to come out, and I would like to go." Nothing. So 2 weeks later, I'm like, "Oh man, I owe them an answer." So I shoot them another note. "Hey, sir, just want to check that you're still good with this." Nothing. And so by the third week, I'm like, all right, I got to do something. And so I send them another note. I'm like, "Hey, sir, just checking back in. I know the note came from the Chaplain Corps, but technically it was from God. God wants me to go over to Arlington to do this." And that same day, probably 30 minutes later, he's like, "Hey, Chief, absolutely, you are clear hot." And so I'm like, oh, that's how I get to my new boss. I just got to let him know God wants me to go do stuff, and he'll send me on my way. And so it is an absolute honor to be here with you all today. And I am on the clock, so I will go ahead and jump in. There are some sticky notes that you will see at the ends of some of the tables. Please take two and continue to pass those around, because we will use those in a moment to gauge some data. If you are one of the folks who are not technically advanced because they put the handout inside of your hub, I have a couple of printed out handouts in the back. I got about 50, 60 of them. So as we start to move around, you can grab those if you would prefer to write down. Otherwise, we will have them for you. Next slide, please. All right, we are getting ready to jump in with the sticky notes. Before I do, I always give my three asks. Ask number one during this moment that we spend together is that you find something that you can accept. That's it. You don't have to agree with it 100%. You can roll your eyes, shrug your shoulders, hear it, experience it, and be like, "I guess I can accept that." Done. First thing already done. Find something that you can accept. Number two, in this session, we won't just deal with being emotionally intelligent. That is just knowing better. And if you've been around for a little bit, you know humans are humans. And just because we know better doesn't mean that we will do better. You may have heard the saying, "know better, do better." That math doesn't math. In order to actually do better, we have to put it into practice. And so that is ask number two. Find something that you can begin to practice. It can be something that comes up on the slide, something in the handout, something that I say, something that someone here says, something you experience that you say to yourself, "I can begin to practice that." That is how we master this topic. Practice, daily practice. And then lastly, and almost all of the times, most important for me, find something that you can share with someone else. If I can do a fairly decent job, then you will walk away and you'll say, "Oh, I took something away from this moment." If I can do a good job, then you will take something away back to the formations that you are responsible for, and you'll share it with someone else. If I can do a phenomenal job, then you will take something here, go back to your formations, and on Sunday mornings or Wednesdays or Fridays, when you are preaching the word of God, you will say, and so there's this phenomenally brilliant Chief Booth, Demetrius, first name, stationed at Barksdale Air Force Base. And everything that I'm getting ready to say, this guy came up with, and I'm just sharing it with y'all. Like, no, you are not getting the credit on Sunday morning. And so if it is, find something that you can take and share with someone else. It is the product of the product of the product. That is how far I have thought about this. Not just you in the room, but those formations that you go out and strengthen and fortify. And not just those folks that you make contact with, the ones that they make contact with and that they make contact with. So that way your imprint is always felt. And so that's it. Find something you can accept, something that you can begin to practice, and something you can share with someone else. And then one standing rule of engagement, give yourselves permission, and this may be dangerous, to interrupt me. That this moment, this session is about dialogue and sharing thoughts and ideas and multiple voices. Give yourself permission to interrupt. That's right. You get to like Kanye West me up here. Yeah, like old Kanye, interrupting Taylor Swift on the stage. Chief Booth, I'm gonna let you finish, but the one thing you can't do today is Will Smith me up in this place. All right? And I know Jesus told me to turn the other cheek. Don't try me up in here, all right? Okay, and so find those things that you can accept, that you can practice, and that you can share with someone else, and then be a part of the session. And so everyone has 2 sticky notes. You will notice on that side of the room, there are 2 charts, one in green, one in red. If you're in the back, on the back wall, there is 2 charts, one in red, one in green. If you're near the front, up here, 2 charts, one in red, one in green. And if you're on that side of the room, 2 charts, one in red, one in green. We are going to use these sticky notes to gather some data. And so red, bad, don't do that stuff, stop it. Green, ding, we want more of that here. We're going to look at 3 dimensions: IQ, intelligence, how smart someone is cognitively; technical ability, just doing the job, how well someone does their core function for the Air Force; and then EQ, EI, in this sense, emotional connectedness, how well and how authentically and genuinely and altruistically we connect with others. And so we are going to look at good and bad. Up front, I want you to hop in your DeLorean with me, and I want you to go back to the future, and I want you to think about a bad, toxic, horrible, whatever leader you want to fancy them, but they are on the continuum of being a bad leader. I want you to think about them. I want you to remember them. I want you to remember what it was like to be around them. There is a word that you would use to define that person. And because I'm inside of a room full of folks who are chaplains, religious leaders, and team members, that the words that are going to be on this sheet of paper will probably be like fairly vanilla. Right? No bad words. No bad words. And so I want you to think about that bad leader. There's a word that you would use to describe the characteristics, attributes, actions of that leader. I want you to write that word on one of your sticky notes. Go. So typically I ask for one word, but if you got like compound words, fair enough. If you need 2 sticky notes because you want to write like a slight dissertation, we got more being passed around. But as many of you as possible, 2 sticky notes. If you got sticky notes still sitting there, please pass them in other directions. I was going to hop down. Any extras? Take these. All right, once you got the bad word, oh man, I'm sorry, I forgot we got someone recording. I'll do better. I'm like all over the place and he's like chasing me with the camera. Once you have your bad word down, or the word that you would use for a bad leader, now I want you to leave that moment and I want you to go to the place of a good leader that you have experienced in the past. Maybe you have taken some of their stuff and you have woven it into your own leadership style. What word would you use for the good leader? I want you to take that second sticky note and I want you to write that word down for the good leader on the second sticky note. So by the time you're done, you'll have 2 sticky notes. One for the good leader, one for the not so good leader. There are charts spread out around the room. When I ask you to go, I want you to pop tall and move to those charts. And I want you to place your sticky note in the quadrant that you believe your word belongs in. Please make sure that if it's the bad word for the bad leader, that it's one of the red charts. IQ, how smart someone is. Technical ability, how well they did not do their job. Or their inability to connect in an authentic and in a genuine and in a loving way. If we're talking about good across those same 3 dimensions, you choose where your sticky note goes. All right, go. As you look around the room at the charts, you will notice that there is this pattern that emerges. That when you are asked about what's important to you, that you remember about leaders from your past or your present, overwhelmingly, around the room, up front, on the sides, in the back, you have said emotional connectedness. Good or bad, that was the thing that you remembered about the leaders that you were placed in the charge of. Emotional connectedness. The information that you see up on the screen, I did a lot of research reading through peer-reviewed articles. I came across one from the Harvard Business Review. They went out and they surveyed folks in different industries, not in this same fashion, but they asked them what were the things that made or broke the leaders in their organization. 80% of the time, people said emotional intelligence. When I first started doing this about 5 years ago, I said to myself, that's not what we would say. We as warfighters, mission first, mission always, mission, people sometimes, kinda, sorta, maybe, if and when we can get to them. But those people better make sure they're taking care of the mission. That we would say technical ability. As our nation's warfighters, that the most important thing for us will be war fighting. But what I have found out over the last 5 years is that the war fighter mattered. And in order for us to get left of bang being the fight, bang being the conflict, because we will have to fight to get into country. And this will be different than what we have been used to. We will have to fight to secure runways. We will have to fight to get aircraft in the air. We will have to fight to get those aircraft back. We will have to fight to maintain maneuverability. And if we don't get left of that, then we are going to struggle. Left of bang is connecting emotionally, filling up the love tank and the love account of the airmen that are in, and guardians that are in our formations. When we can do that, when the time comes and we are asking them to do wildly crazy and innovative and hard things, they will already know that we love and care for them. They will already be willing to fight for you, and you play a critical role in that. Because even in the moments when we no longer want to fight, when we are losing our will to get back up, we turn to you. As a leader, I turn to you to help me inspire and fortify and care for these airmen and guardians. The children of our nation, I am asking you to help me so that we can go and ensure our way of life. And so we have to get left of bang. And so this is what Harvard figured out. When I started collecting these sticky notes, 92% of the time, sticky notes ended up inside of emotional connectedness. 5% of the time, sticky notes went into technical ability, 2.7% of the time, they went into IQ. How you make people feel. And so the question is, does it work? A bit of an eye chart, but I showed up at the 14th Security Forces Squadron before this current job that I am in, and I went to the commander, and I said, hey, sir, I read the deox from the last command. Things are really bad here. Chief, how do we fix it? We got to love people first. And he kind of like looked at me. And he was like, where is my security forces chief? This is not what I ordered. And I was like, I promise you, sir, if you love them first. And he was like, what year did you go to tech school? And I'm like, hey. He's like, are you a real security forces chief? Is someone catfishing me right now? And I'm like, sir, if we love them, we'll change this organization. If we, and now I can't hide it because y'all are all like Bible thumpers in this room. Y'all love the Creator. Y'all are gonna figure out that my whole briefing is plagiarizing Jesus. But I know that y'all can't tell nobody. All right, so I'm gonna keep getting invites. Confidentiality. Y'all can't tell nobody. This is what I've been doing. All right, so I told him, hey, sir, if we can see them and if we can love them, then offer them the thing that they are missing, that we will transform this organization. And he's like, Chief, that's brilliant. And I was like, I know. Because I stole it from Jesus. And so as we went out, some of the problems that existed were that they didn't see the senior NCOs as transformational. Low ratings. That they had been hurt so much that even in the comments, when you don't have to tag your name in there, that they were writing that they were putting their names in there because they wanted all the smoke. If you want to change this unit, we need a new commander, we need a new chief, and get rid of this first sergeant. Dash, Airman Jacobs. First name, Billy Bob. And as I was reading through it, I was like, yo, like they have had enough. The wing commander had gapped having a senior enlisted leader for 8 months because he had fired the previous chief. And when I showed up, when I sat with him, he said, hey, there's a lot of problems. I don't know how you're going to fix it, but go fix it. And so I sat there looking at him, and he looked back at me and was like, why are you still here? So I stood up, and I left. And that is how we began to do it. We started seeing the person first. And so what are the ingredients? I will offer you 3 core ingredients: self-awareness, emotional management, and emotional connectedness. Now, these 3 core ingredients, I believe that you always have to have with you, but it doesn't discount the things that you have placed on these charts, that those words matter as well. Across the dimensions, there is citizenship behavior. That is the stuff that you all have outlined in green. Those are the things that we want more of in our units. Counterproductive or deviant behavior is the stuff that's in red, that you do not want in your organization, that you want uprooted from all of your formations, that if we had this umbrella term of toxic leadership, toxic followership, if we truly wanted to define it, go over to those red charts, and it would give you every word to help you define what toxic truly is. And so citizenship behavior is what we want more of. Self-awareness. At the bottom, that is not just a triangle and you got this seesaw thing happening. That is a prism that allows light to shine in, to dispel those shadowy areas that you may have, to spotlight the blind spots that exist in your life, to illuminate you. 3 beams of light that I will offer into your prism. Self-reflection. What went well today? What did not go according to plan? How can I be better in the next moment of my life than I was in this one? And we have to put a comma there instead of a period. Because growing up in the Air Force, I've heard over and over and over again, you just got to be able to look yourself in the mirror. That's it. When you get up in the morning, you put that uniform on, you can look yourself in the mirror, you're doing all right. At the end of the day, after you've advised your commander, and you can look yourself in the mirror, then that's what matters. Well, the mirror at times allows us to be trapped in the prison that is our own thoughts, our own perspectives, and our own ways of doing things. And if I am only looking in the mirror, then I will think that I am probably the best Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. No pun intended, Chief. I know everybody here. Like, just go with me. Just go with me. That Chief Bass should get ready for me to be the next Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And they should extend higher tenure, not for the rest of y'all, Chief, but for me. Because I don't know what the Air Force is going to do when it's time for me to go do something else. So y'all should definitely keep me around. And when I tell the commander or advise the commander to take stripes from y'all, you had it coming. You had it coming. You knew better. Do better. When I go in and I'm advising the commander after the first sergeant has just left and I'm saying something very different because you know what? The first sergeant ain't worth nothing anyway. You should just listen to me. The mirror alone at times will allow me to remain trapped in the prison that is my own thoughts, own perspectives, and own ways of doing things. And so we put a comma. The next beam of light, self-assessments. And there are a lot of them out there. I know y'all have done some of them. Myers-Briggs, 5 love languages, DISC, 4 lenses, what Star Wars character you are, what your animal spirit is. On Facebook, don't act like I'm the only one taking those. I'm a cheetah, in case y'all were wondering. I'm a cheetah, except once a year when I got to do my PT test. The cheetah never shows up when they like, all right, go. I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, man, where's the cheetah spirit? And so self-assessments will help to point towards tendencies. And so treat it like a leadership buffet. Take what resonates, take what you want, leave what you don't, but don't throw it all away. Because there may be moments, if you will allow others to shine light into your prism, that you may have to go back for a slice of humble pie. Because someone has pointed at a tendency that you did not believe fit who you are or how you do business. And then lastly, 360 feed forward. 360 feed forward. I got to go through a coaching certification and I dropped the term feedback. And it didn't work very well for me in the security forces world anyway. I would roll in and I'd be like, hey, sir, can I get some feedback? You suck less. Dang. Hey, sir, can I get some feedback? You're just not our guy. Who's the guy? Somebody else. It's definitely not you. Hey, man, can I get some feedback? Just keep doing what you're doing. What am I doing? Stuff. What can I do better? Other stuff that you're not doing. But keep doing those things you're doing because that stuff's working well. But you got a lot to improve. You know what? I heard the senior told you suck less. I'm going to just leave you with that. Do with it what you will. And so I started to ask for feed forward because it required them to see me in a future state. It required them, when my question came out, can you give me something that will feed me forward? So the next time I'm in this position, in this moment, that I can take with me the stuff they would offer different. 3 layers or 360 feet forward from someone that you look up to, allowing them to pour light into your prison. Someone that you look at, who is at your level, who is your peer. And oftentimes that is the most difficult place because they will have a plank hanging out of their eye and they want to come and talk to you about the speck inside of yours. I told y'all I plagiarize Jesus all the time. Y'all caught it, all right? And instead of sending them away, can you take it so that you can work on and fix and correct yourself so that you can be the best version of you? And then what I find a lot of the times to be most important, someone who looks up at you. Is there something that they can hold you accountable to? Have you told them what you want to be known for or known as and allow them to look at you? Because they're doing it anyway. Allow them to peer through the fishbowl with your permission and help to grow you. 360 feed forward. And if we had more time and we went around the room, you would say other items like my mom, my dad, my significant other, my best friend. Sometimes my children surprise me. And there would be a whole bunch that flow into your prism. And then we become illuminated. And the first block that falls into place is emotional management. How well we begin to manage ourselves and control our own responses when life come punch us in the face, or when people start peopling around us. This part causes you to check yourself instead of going from 0 to 100 real quick. Instead of saying like, that's just my face, I can't help it. The truth is, you haven't practiced helping it. You haven't tried. You're okay with it. And so you have stopped working at that aspect. And we would be out of balance if emotional connection didn't land next. How we connect authentically and genuinely with the emotions of others. So not just our own emotions, but what are you going through? And not that we predict and we project, but that we put ourselves in a position to meet them where they are, to see them, to hear them, and then begin to understand them. The last block for me never lands. I told you 3 primary ingredients because the personal leadership style for me never lands. For me, I am always in a state of striving to be self-awareness, striving to be emotional management, striving to be emotional connectedness, and that leads into my personal leadership style and philosophy. So that way, any moment that you connect with, experience Demetrius, that you don't walk away with a word that will go onto that red chart. That is what I am striving for at all times. I don't always get it right. I don't always get it perfect, but I am striving to make sure that when we meet, when we connect, that we do it in a loving way, left of bang. What you see up on the screen is the Triune Brain theory introduced in the mid-1950s. And I know there are a lot of people who don't like it, don't subscribe to the Triune Brain theory right now, but I like the schematic because it gives a 100,000-foot view. That we have our reptilian brain, and that parts of us handles all of the functions that we never, ever have to think about. It just goes automatically, and it keeps the body alive. Popcorn style, what are some of the things that your reptilian brain handles for you? Breathing. Heartbeat. Someone says sleeping, you wouldn't think it, but yes, if you get tired enough, your brain will take the sleep back. You'll be driving, and then you wake up, and you're like, what just happened? Your brain was like, all right, we're safe, everything's cool, go to sleep, and then you're out. Anyone else? Fight, flight, yes. Taking a poo. Nobody ever says it. Taking a poo. I want you to think about it. Think about it. When do you think about taking a poo? When your body betrays you, you're somewhere. And now you're like, uh-oh. Or if you haven't taken a poo in a while, now you're like, I don't know when the last time I took a poo. I should probably do something about that. But in all instances, when those moments happen, we jump in to keep the body alive. If I go down on this stage right now, God forbid. If I go down on this stage right now, what are you going to do? CP. I am in the right place. We're going to pray for you. We're going to pray for you, Brother Demetrius. That's what we're going to do. And then I heard someone else say CPR. Someone said AED. So here's the test. What's the steps for the AED? Uh-oh. Hey, sir. They ain't been doing their CBTs. It's too late. It's too late. Y'all already been found out. Now they know y'all ain't been doing y'all CBT, man. Y'all just been clicking through it. And so there is a process that we would jump in to save the body, but we haven't done that in our organizations. Why not? Why have we just walked by? Why have you heard things and rumblings about stuff going on in formations? The body is dying, and no one is jumping in to do anything about it. I hope you jump in and that you're not just a bystander and watch the body collapse on the stage and do nothing about it. Be actively, participantly in love with these airmen so that you can take care of them. We won't spend a lot of time on the limbic brain region because we'll spend the rest of it there. But then our neocortex is our thinking brain. That is the part of us that we would like to always be in control. That is where we get our objectivity, our ability to prioritize, to use some strategery. All of that happens in the neocortex. But then that limbic brain region, or our emotional brains, is the thing that gets in the way. What you see up on the screen is an almond. And that almond represents your amygdala. Almond is Greek, or Greek for almond, amygdala. It's all relative. There are two of them. One in the left hemisphere of your brain and one in the right hemisphere of your brain. And it is a wicked piece of our symmetry because it is designed to keep you alive. It prompts your reptilian brain to kick in with that fight, flight, or freeze. That it has this negative bias because it's designed to keep you alive. But it also looks for belonging cues. Do I belong here? Do these people care for me? Am I safe here? And when we find signs that the answer is no, then our amygdala kicks in big time. Everybody is out to get me. The commander doesn't like me. I need to PCS out of this place. I can't grow here. And your amygdala will take over. As it does, it kicks off cortisol. Your adrenaline starts pumping, and it will flood your thinking brain. Have any of you ever had a chicken sandwich from Popeyes? All right, y'all are some good people. That's what I'm talking about. Preach, amen, all that good stuff. All right, I'm going to regret this. I know I'm going to regret it. Who are the Chick-fil-A people in the room? And there we go, be honest. I saw some of y'all walking in with Chick-fil-A bags. What's better, Popeyes chicken sandwich or Chick-fil-A? Wrong. Can't nothing, Jake, that's not even in the conversation. Can't nothing beat a they call it the Popeyes Louisiana Chicken Shack, okay? You ever seen anyone in a Chick-fil-A punching out a worker because they done ran out of those chicken sandwiches? No, never. Have you ever witnessed in the drive-thru of a Chick-fil-A people ramming their cars into one? Nope, never gonna happen. You know why? Because it's not as delectable as those chicken sandwiches from Popeyes. That's just how it works. What if I told you that it is absolutely not about the chicken sandwich? That along the way, we have begun to fight for things. We are fighting for autonomy. We are fighting to be included. We are fighting to be seen as competent. We are fighting for respect. We are fighting for safety. And we are fighting to be valued. That is at the root of it. The fruit is what we see on the surface. Us fighting one another, us arguing, us plotting against one another, ramming our cars into each other in parking lots and punching out employees because they ran out of the most delicious chicken sandwich on this earth that God has created. We are not fighting for the thing. That is just the fruit. If we follow the branch to the trunk, down into the roots, at the root of it, if you think back at the root of it, those are the 6 things that we are fighting for. I want you to think about a moment that you have had in your life where you lost your cool. Where you have lost your cool. Is there anyone willing to share what that moment was? No. Uh-oh. It's too late. I already saw your hand. It was quick. driving in Washington, D.C. I thought y'all said no. Now everybody, oh, yeah. What happens for you driving in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I actually start praying because I think my life is on the line and other people's lives are on the line with somehow people drive.
Do you ever have any choice gestures or words for these people who are cutting you off, zooming in and out of traffic?
As a chaplain, I have that moment where I start to, and then I just turn to prayer real quickly because I know, yes, that's what's going to come out of my mouth is not helpful.
She says she has those moments, and then quickly she remembers the teachings and the spiritual place she is striving to be on. And so she calls on her Creator to endow her with more patience and to get those idiots off the road. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. In that moment, what is really happening, as she noted, I'm fighting for safety, my safety and the safety of others. There may be these moments where autonomy is stripped out because people are peopling and they are doing things that remove your ability to make choices for yourself. If you think back to any moment that you have had where you have lost your cool, if you start thinking back about it, mirroring it up and measuring it with these 6 things, I guarantee that you'll look back and be like, oh yeah, I didn't feel safe. They stripped away my value, and I wasn't included. And that's why I did, and you fill in the blank. This is what we are fighting for. But it doesn't just happen within inside of us, it happens inside of the other person as well. And so while I am like a game of Wheel of Fortune and I am spinning this thing around because I have placed the prism back at the top as a pointer, that we all have a default. For some of us, I need to feel safe. For others, don't take away my autonomy. That is my default setting. And there are times where we spin this dial and we are fighting for all of it all at once. There could be this invisible battle that is waging. And I say invisible because there are times where you may not know that you have stripped autonomy away from me. But I know it. My amygdala has fired. My adrenaline is pumping. I am seeing red. I don't want to work for you. I would rather not be here. I'm trying to avoid you at all costs. When you walk away, I go find my teammates, and I'm like, let me tell you what the chaplain just said to me. This man of God, this is what he just did. I don't believe that. That's what I said. And now my sphere of influence, neither one of us can stand you because of how you treated me. My son comes home from school, if he says that kids are making fun of him and his teacher didn't do anything about it, the next morning I'm finna go see Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson finna get all of the smoke. And the reason why is because I'm gonna go fight to take safety and value back for my son. So it's not only for ourselves, self-preservation, that we go through this process and that we fight. We will extend the battle for those that we love, that we have been entrusted to care for and to lead and to mentor and to grow. Have you stripped away autonomy or safety, value, inclusion, competency from someone else, respect? Because in those moments, when it is stripped away, I will fight to take it back. If you strip away respect from me, there may be moments where I will be disrespectful to you in order to take my own respect back. That if you strip away my value, that I may find myself creating moments that your value is taken away so that my value can be recouped to me. In those moments when it happens, we have to be thinking through what happens to me physiologically. What am I fighting for? And how will it affect my actions, decisions, and behaviors? That's what the ADB is: actions, decisions, and behaviors. What am I fighting for? This is important to understand, that we are fighting for these things. What happens to me physiologically? For me personally, I get this swirling energy bouncing around in my chest, and it is just as real as you sitting here. People around me kind of, sort of like disappear. They start sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher, like, wah, 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 wah. What they're actually saying is, if it's my wife, babe, no, don't. It's not worth it. All I hear, wah, wah. I mean, that's normal, but listen, don't tell on me. She's an emotional terrorist, okay? Don't tell on me. Don't tell on me. She will get me back. In that moment, everyone else starts to disappear. And I begin to focus on the person that has stripped those things away from me. What happens to you physiologically? Because it is like dominoes. Once one thing happens, then it begins to spiral out of control and everything is falling. The moment you know what that process is for yourself, you can get ahead of it just a little bit. Now, when I feel that swirling energy in my chest, I begin to think, uh-oh. Because again, your amygdala absorbs your environment 100 times faster than your thinking brain. And so now I know that that is the canary in the coal mine. The swirling energy in my chest, the moment it happens, I begin to ask myself, what am I fighting for? Like, what just happened here? And then I start to pull myself back so that my thinking brain, my neocortex, can regain control. It doesn't always work. There are moments where I'm on the cusp of not turning the other cheek. Maybe I'll test if they'll turn the other cheek after I punch them in it. I mean, Chief Bass said earlier she'd be ready to choke people out in the Pentagon. Y'all can't judge me now. Yeah, I was okay with it earlier. I saw y'all. I took a note. I was like, okay, they okay. The Chaplain Corps is okay with people being choked out at the Pentagon. Check. In the process, how can you begin to regain control? What am I fighting for? How does it affect me physiologically? How will it impact my actions, decisions, and behaviors? And it ties right back to self-awareness, emotional management, and emotional connectedness. All of it needs each other. Lastly, we're going to play a quick game before we go into questions. Values card bingo. Values card bingo. All right, here we go. 3 phases, real quick. 3 phases. I don't value you. Matter of fact, I don't even like your parents. You know why? You guessed it, because of your parents. Here you are. And I can't stand you, so then I don't like your parents. I wish I could just take that uniform off because you don't represent my Air Force in a positive way. And every day I wake up, I'm thinking about how I can make my life better by ruining yours. Yeah. When I'm drinking my coffee and I'm walking, and I see you, and you're like, oh, man, here go Chief Booth again. I already know, like, yep, I'm coming back for you later. I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do. I don't value your inputs. I don't value your opinion. I don't value your contributions to the wing and how you go out and take care of formations under your charge. I don't value you. 0 value. Looking at these words on the screen, you get to choose as many or as few as you want to give back to me. And I'm talking me, the person, me, Demetrius. How many words would you give back to me? Not the Air Force. And no, like, well, I love the Air Force, and the Air Force is great. And it's not about you, Chief Booth. It's about these airmen and these guardians. And I love airmen, and I love guardians, and I love our mission. And so I'm not going to let you bother me. No, I'm not asking what you're giving back to the mission, to the airmen, to the guardians. I'm asking, what would you give back to the leader, me, who do not value you or who does not value you? Can I get one person to say the words that they would give to me, the leader, that does not value them? Some feedback. I suck less. I see what you did there, sir. Because I said earlier, security forces, we just tell you suck less. Feedback. I heard unsolicited from someone? Unsolicited input. You'll give me some maybe benefit of the doubt? Why benefit of the doubt?
I mean, obviously you're a jerk for some reason, so therefore I can be a better person to maybe help you grow.
How?
I was going to say words of caution.
What's going to be these words of caution?
So, hypothetically,
Hypothetically.
I would say, sir, I don't think that's, sir, ma'am, I don't think that's the correct use of your words or your actions.
Sir, ma'am, I don't think that's the correct use of your words or your actions.
And I think that might cause someone to go to IG or EO.
And I think that might cause somebody to go to IG or EO. And so you better get out my office before I punch you in the face. Dang. What? No? 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 You, not the last part? It's too late. Everybody's looking at you now. They're like, that's what she wanted to say. Words of caution, basic information, warnings, unsolicited input, feedback. Is love. You'll still give me some love. I appreciate it. Still some love. Some empathy, okay? Some suggestions. How many of y'all would give me more than 4 words on this chart? That is the average. Typically, 0 to 3 words is what people will give from this chart when they are not valued, when they don't feel safe, when they don't feel respected, when they are not included. When you strip away their autonomy, 0 to 3 words that they will give to the leader. What if I valued you at 50%? Then what? Would your word count go up? It typically does. Because people feel a little bit more valued, they will give a little bit more. Think about now the words that you did not use. The words that never came across your mind, that never popped up. Typically, at the very top of the list, every time I have gone out and I've done this, at the top of the list, personal, sacrifice, trust. We hold those things back. We don't bring them into the office. We don't even pack them into our car when we head to work if we are in an environment where we are not valued. Personal sacrifice? Nope. Trust? Nope, I don't trust you. Next to that, passion and innovation. We won't even bring it in with us unless we are valued at higher levels. Have you created an environment where when people come in, they feel needed, and when they go home at the end of the day, they feel valued? This is about connecting our thinking brain to our emotional brain. In my opinion, Maya Angelou said it best: people will forget what you have done, they will forget what you have said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Can you create a space where you see me, where you love me, and then offer me the thing that I am missing? Thank y'all again for this opportunity to come out and be with y'all.